Guys, in case you're wondering why we're filming the intro like this, it is because we completely forgot to film one on the day. Cinematic excellence starts here. On that note, today's guest is a Jersey City actor, writer, and producer known for intersectional storytelling, including award-winning short film Heirloom. A graduate of the Atlantic Theater Company Conservatory, she champions women-led projects and is currently developing her debut feature film, You Really Tried Your Hardest.
Born and raised in Jersey City, she remains deeply rooted in her local community, consistently working to amplify the untold stories of underrepresented groups. Her fiercely dedicated approach to filmmaking and collaborative creative process resonates with authenticity both on and off the screen. Please give a warm welcome to Josie Burke.
Hi! Patrick, I know I met you here at the Hive, but Emily, it is lovely to meet you via Zoom.
Lovely to meet you too. How's your day been so far?
It's been great. Yeah, just trying to stay outside as much as possible. I'm at the Hive right now, and nobody is in the backyard, which is lovely. Hope it stays that way. And yeah, I'm looking at the embankment. It's great. It's lovely. It's spring. How about you guys?
Good.
Good. It's been a good day. Productive, which is always a good feeling when you get some stuff done.
Yeah. Yes, I am a bit of a productive perfectionist, so I can understand that.
Yes, you have many hats, according to your bio and everything that you've been doing. So I'd love to hear a little how you got into that.
Yeah, speaking of hats, I'm going to take that off because that feels not professional. Although it's the best hat. It says Saint Natalie Wood with her face on the back of it.
Hell yes, I love it.
And a Splendor in the Grass quote on the side. So if I'm going to wear any hat, it would be that. But I feel like that is just not podcast. Well, 2026, nobody cares. Anyway, yes, many hats. I always was an actor. I did school plays since I was like 4. And then I was really into musical theater in high school. My class got to perform at the Scotland Edinburgh Fringe Festival when I was 15, so that was like the coolest thing I ever did in my teenage years. And then right from high school, I went into the Atlantic Acting Conservatory, which is part of the Atlantic Theater Company. And it was a 2.5-year program. It was like 7 a.m. till usually like 9 p.m. with classes plus rehearsals, like 5 to 6 days a week. It was amazing because it's not college, it's a conservatory. So I was one of the 3 younger people in the class. So I had people in their 40s. I had people, 20s, 30s, but I was 18. So I was just like, oh my God, I hope that I can, play in the big leagues. But it was great. It was really wonderful and really intense. Wouldn't have changed it. 2.5 years flew by. And then I didn't write or produce anything until COVID. So before COVID, I did, film. I did a feature-length film. I was in Alabama for 2.5 months. That was a wild culture shock. I did a really awesome film in the city called Impossible Monsters. And I did theater. So, Atlantic Theater Company, obviously it's mainly a theater-based trained school. We did have film classes, but I love theater as well. So I did a lot of that. And then COVID happened, and as the world knows, kind of stop. What do we do? And I get a little depressed when I'm not being creative. I start getting existential crises every other day. I'm like, I didn't do anything creative today. It's kind of ridiculous, but so that was really hard and really heavy. I know for a lot of people it was. So I people were always like, why don't you try writing something? And I was just like, I'm an actor. I'm not a writer. I can't do that. And something just switched because I was just sick of nothing happening and needed an outlet to create. And so I started writing, and I wrote Heirloom, which was the first thing I wrote. It was a short film. It started off being, oh my gosh, 44 pages. I got it down to 14. Short films are a lot harder to do than feature films, in my opinion, because you have to make something so whole and meaningful with a start, middle, and end in such a short amount of time. Like, when people do like 2-minute short films, I'm like, what? It's pretty remarkable that people can do that. So I wrote that, and I got to film it in May of 2021, so everybody was still wearing masks and everybody was still getting their COVID tests before we showed up to set, and we had a COVID nurse on set. It was a whole thing, because that was really, I feel like, when people started to kind of go back into being on set for things, and that was as devastating as COVID was. What was nice about that was that everybody was so amped and ready to do something again. So the energy was like grateful, really grateful to be amongst, creators. And we filmed it in 4.5 days, and I had an incredible cast. They are some of the best actors I know. Mary Bacon, who played my sponsor, she's a Drama Desk Award winner. Norm Lewis, if we have any musical theater lovers out there, is like Broadway, legend. And it was actually, I got him the day before shooting. Is that accurate? The day or 2 days before. I had someone else playing him, and another amazing actor, but his manager reached out to me like 2 days before shooting, and they were like, so he got an Anne Hathaway project. And I was like, okay, that's probably paying more, and we'll probably have a little bit more pizzazz to it in terms of visibility. So I was so bummed. I was devastated, actually, and I was like, I already paid my crew and my locations, like I can't not do it. And a very dear friend of mine who's a casting director was like, I called him like crying. I was like, I don't know what to do. He was like, well, I'm actually sitting with Norm Lewis right now. I said, okay, well, call me back when you can talk. And he was like, send me the script. So I sent him the script, and like 20 minutes later he was like, this is the only weekend Norm is free, and he loves it and he wants to do it. And I was like, the gods were with me. It was so, like, my emotions those 2 days were, like, all over the place. But he's so, he does so much musical theater. He was like, I actually really want to do just an acting role. And he was in The Five Bloods, he was amazing in that. But he was like, oh, I love that this is just acting. Although he did sing on set many times. And Tyree was wonderful. He was in several episodes of Boardwalk Empire, and just a really, really good, solid team. So yeah, that was my first film. We got into 22 festivals worldwide, and we won 6 awards. So like, for my first thing, I was just like, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to do it and finish it and be like, I made it. And it became this really cool thing that I was really proud of at the end of the day. And then I got the bug. Then I got the writing and producing and all of that. So that's what led me to this one that I'm doing next.
What an incredible story.
Oh my God, yeah. When we were going through your bio and I was looking up Heirloom, I saw Norm's name and I was like, why do I know this name? My first Broadway show was The Little Mermaid, and I saw him as...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a full circle moment. That was so cool.
I saw him as Javert in Les Mis when I was like, I don't know how old I was. I was young, and my mom, when I got him in the cast, my mom was like, Josie, it's, you saw him on Broadway. And I was like young. I don't remember how old I was, but I was like, I did? She goes, he was Javert. That was the show, like, it ended and you couldn't get up. Like, you were just like a little kid seeing Les Mis too was probably like, what on earth? So devastating. My God, he's so talented. So yeah, he also just is the kindest man in the world. I mean, like, he showed up to set the first day, not an ounce of celebrity about him, and he had, this is like one of my favorite little memories, he had his own milk, like, for because we had coffee and bagels and everything on set, and he was like, does anybody else want almond milk? I have a little, container of it we can all share. And I was like, it took no effort to like love him in Heirloom, although him and I have a bit of this a lot in the film. It was difficult because I was like, you are just, I don't want to yell at you, you're the sweetest peach I've ever met. But yeah, it was really wild. It was really, really cool.
It's been such a wonderful journey doing these interviews with people. So many creators got so restless during COVID. And that's where all the projects came from. It's been so fascinating to hear everyone's story.
Yeah, definitely would have preferred COVID not to happen, of course, but definitely sparked a lot of things in people. I mean, like, I read like 10 books during COVID, and like, I love to read. And I didn't have a kid at that point, so I was able to just like read all day too. And I was like, man, this is like what life should be. Wild time, but definitely, grateful that I realized that, because I was very like against, I think, and this may sound a little judgmental, but we're all human. I feel like I've met so many people that are like, I'm also a writer. And I'm like, everybody's a writer now. I don't know. I just like didn't want to be another person that was like, I do this, this, and this. But that's so stupid now in hindsight, because I'm like, oh no, if you're an actor, you're very in touch with good writing, like 9 out of 10 times. So of course, all these people in my past that were like, I'm also a writer, I have to like, go give them a little apology if I was ever, oh, are you? Because it's like, no, I get it now. I totally get it. And it's also such a devastating, it can be such a devastating industry. So if you can write things for yourself and not have to wait for people to like you and care about you, then more power to you. It's actually an incredible thing that people do. And now I think everybody who acts should also write. I've done the total opposite of how I used to think about it.
Yeah. I went to the Lee Strasberg Institute and did the 2-year conservatory there. And they were promoting the fact that you should really get into multiple disciplines, because the only way to get shit done is if you do it yourself. So write, direct, pick up a camera, start doing your own lighting, whatever you can get your hands on, apply it to your craft. It's so hard because everyone is everything now. Like you just said, everyone's an actor, everyone's a writer. So the more you have, the more chance you have of getting somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my young, stupid, 20-year-old, 20-something thought process. And now I'm just like, I wish I started this earlier. Like, whatever, I did it when I did it, and I'm grateful that it happened. But yeah, like, I just wish that I gave myself the chance to have that be a possibility, because it brings me so much joy. And like you said, it's like, why on earth, if you can do multiple things in this crazy business, do it. Yeah. Do it.
Well, maybe it came to you at the right time. Somehow it all worked out. So
no, it's true. And I think about that a lot. I'm just like, you know what? I had to have my life be what it was at that time. And if I started writing then, like, it could have been great, or I could have written something and I could have hated it and then just been like, oh, I'm never doing that again. So you're right. I do believe that, it happened when it was supposed to happen, the spark in my brain.
With Heirloom and being able to have it screened at all these like screenings, did you have a reaction that kind of surprised you from viewers?
Um, I was so touched by the fact that I had several people come up to me afterwards and start talking to me about either their own journey with sobriety or someone they love deeply or someone they lost. That was really cool. So I was hoping for that, that I would, get to relate to people after the screenings. And some of them you do Q&As, some of them they have 20 films, so you don't get to do a Q&A. It's just like movie go. But the ones where, we actually got to speak and take questions and, talk to people afterwards, it was just so nice to, that's another reason that I wrote Heirloom, that I'm writing You Really Tried Your Hardest. My preference, what I'm drawn to in films, is very realistic, real people, all the flaws, all the awful things that we feel about ourselves, all the beautiful things that we feel about ourselves. So to get those conversations from people afterwards was so touching. And I even had this one gentleman come up to me and he was like, "I think I have a problem." And I was like,
wow.
Yeah. And I was not expecting that. That was certainly a surprise, but like it was, and I'm by no means a substance abuse counselor, but I was just like, I can talk to you about that. I can certainly, I remember the day that I was like, this is a bit much. I think I have a problem too. And just to be able to be human with people through that medium was really cool. And it definitely inspired me to do another film that opens that kind of a dialogue about things that are really hard to talk about, but when you start talking about them, a lot of really cool things can happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have any films in your library of things that you've seen that you've drawn from, or you felt, oh, this is a style I really enjoy, or this is a really cool narrative, I'd like to create something along these lines?
Definitely. I have one that's on the lighter side and one that's on the much darker side. So the lighter side, which also has obviously many sad moments, but it's Little Miss Sunshine. I love when films, I love when you're on a high of like cracking up and then the next moment something crazy happens that is so gut-wrenching and it just catches you completely off guard. Everybody in that film has it's such a character study. Everybody in that film has so many things going on. There's not one character that was written kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll put them in. I mean, like, the grandpa's a heroin addict. The little girl is dealing with body shaming issues. The married couple, are basically about to fall apart. The son, has a complete identity crisis. Like, it's all happening at the same time. And it never felt like too much. It felt like just enough. And that's what life is, right? It's just like, if you don't laugh in the hard times, you'll just like cry forever. And I just remember seeing that movie for the first time years ago, and I was just like, oh, okay, I want to either be in a movie like this, and now I'm like, I want to write a movie like this. So that's definitely one. And then I'm surprised about that a lot of people haven't seen this one, but it's Diary of a Teenage Girl. Marielle Heller directed it. really heavy, very dark. There's definitely funny in it too, but it's such a raw, very uncomfortable to watch at moments film about a teenage girl and all the things that she goes through. And the characters are so it highlights such flaws about them, but it also, you can, at least personally speaking, I'm watching it and I'm just like, no, I was like that as a teenage girl. Like, it's been a long time, but I definitely did some very questionable things and hung out with very questionable people, and this is definitely how my life could have gone, and it gives you empathy for all these people. And Alexander Skarsgård is in it, and he plays the stepfather, and he's, I don't want to give anything away, but he's very inappropriate with this character. But then even he has moments in the film where you're watching it, I'm watching it, and I'm like, do I feel bad for this predator right now? And then you're like, no, I don't feel bad. This is a bad guy, but his acting is so good, the writing is so good, the direction is so good that it makes you have that moment where you're like, what happened to him in his life that made him like this? What happened to, you know, the Kristen Wiig plays her mother, and it's like she's a mess, and you're just like, you want to hate her, but then there's these beautiful moments where you're like, no, you were a single mom that really didn't know how to do this, and you have a drinking problem, so how present of a parent can you be if you're going through all this to yourself? It's just the dynamics of the character. Obviously, I like character work, if you couldn't pick that up. I just find it, that's what I love so much about these films. Past Lives is like another movie that is, the dialogue can be so simple, but it's all that juicy, unbelievable subtext. And when they're just staring at each other at the end on that sidewalk, you're just like, the tears gushing out of my face, and it's like, and you want them to be together, but you're like, no, don't leave your sweet, amazing, wonderful partner. Like, it's just, I love when films like that make you question your morals in a way, if that makes sense, you know, like, no, I'm not a homewrecker, but in that moment, I'm like, yeah, go, leave him, just go, just get in the taxi with him and go, you know. It's just like, it's like those very real, very human, relatable experiences that we all could find ourselves in. So those are a few. I'll give you more if you want, but those are three that really inspire me in terms of dialogue and characters and just simple storylines. I mean, Diary of a Teenage Girl, nothing crazy happens, you know. It's not like this, like, oh, and then they go to this trip and then they go on, you know, like, it's just kind of like multiple days in the life of this teenage girl, but nothing happens and everything happens, if that makes sense, which I also kind of feel about Past Lives.
I think those are some of the best kind of films because it all starts with the writing, just like going back to what you said. And if you have such a powerful script and you're able to do that character depth, all that other stuff matters, but like your words will say so much as is.
Completely.
I actually have, this is so random, I actually have a movie recommendation for you based on what you just said. If you haven't seen it, you might have already seen it.
Give it to me, yes.
Fresh Kills by Jennifer Esposito.
Nope.
We did a podcast episode about it. It's a really, really beautiful story about an Italian-American family and two young girls growing up on Staten Island, and about being in the mafia world and what that looks like. And Jennifer Esposito grew up in a similar environment and surrounded like that. But it's about women finding their voices and being allowed to express themselves and how to do that. And I just feel like, based on everything you just said, character work, subtle changes, everything said in silence, I just feel like that was perfect. Yeah,
I'm writing it down. Fresh Kills.
Yep, you got it.
Very good. Thank you. I am always down for a good movie rec.
And you'll have
I've
to let
seen
us know
so many, so I love when I'm like, don't know. I know Jennifer Esposito, but I haven't heard of that one. Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, let us know what you think. I'd actually love to hear your thoughts on it.
I definitely will.
Tell us more about your next project.
Yeah, it's a feature. So did my short. Now a lot of people I think do a bunch of shorts before they go into a feature, but I'm kind of an impatient person, so I was just like, I'm doing a feature. So it's a feature film. It's a dramedy, and it is about a couple who is in the experiencing the aftermath of a miscarriage, and it's very tonally kind of like Fleabaggy, maybe, I want to say, if that makes sense. It's the same kind of thing we were just talking about of, like one moment, you're on a high, and then the next moment, the world is ending. I had a miscarriage in 2023, and I love movies, obviously. So when I had that happen, I kind of curled in my bed and I was like, I'm just going to watch movies. And I started Googling, I'm like, movies about miscarriage. And there's like none. There are films with scenes of that happening, but I would be very interested if somebody was like, I know one, but I couldn't find any that were really centered around that happening. So I was in the middle of writing a completely different feature, and then when this happened, I was like, no, I gotta write about this. So it took me about 2 years to write, and you're never done editing your script, so I had to put it away because I was like, it's fine, it's good, it's fine, yeah, it's good. So I'm really excited about it because I just couldn't believe, like I just said, there's no films that are centered around this experience, and it is such a common experience. I mean, I barely told anybody I was pregnant, so I didn't have a support system when that happened. I did have one when I started telling people, like, this just happened to me, and the amount of women, some of whom I've known for years, were like, oh yeah, I had one too. Like, I had 2. I had 3, and then I just stopped trying, and I'm just like, how is this happening this much?
Yeah.
And there are not things represented in this. Even TV shows, like, yeah, there will be, and of course it's hard to make an entire TV series about a miscarriage, but you can do it, and I know that BBC is doing it right now, which is really exciting. But I just had to write it. I was like, I have to write this. It was cathartic for me to heal from that. It is just by my fundraising that I'm doing and telling people about it and meeting people and going to, screenings of other things and meeting other filmmakers. I'm so excited for this to be done and out in the world, because it's kind of similar to what I was saying about Heirloom. Is like, after I did these screenings, some people were like, oh, I've never talked about, my mom was a really bad alcoholic my whole childhood, and I've never talked about it. This is so cool you made this film. I want the same thing to happen with this. I want people to watch it. And it's a film of course it's mainly about the lead character, who's a woman, but it's very much about the couple, because it's not talked about enough about women having miscarriages. So you can imagine that the man's experience, or the partner's experience, it doesn't have to be a man, the partner's experience, the one who didn't literally physically have a miscarriage, that's talked about even less, which is something that I also wanted to touch on. My husband was devastated, and I was so in my own grief that I didn't really, like, it sounds awful now, but I didn't really pay much attention to what was going on with him in the aftermath of it. I just kind of was like in my own bubble. And then one day it hit me like, a truck. I was like, oh, he's so broken over this. So I had him read the script, and he's a writer too. He writes poetry. It's so funny. He'll read a poem, and I'm like, I don't know how you do that. And he reads my script. He's like, I don't know how you do that. So it's good. We get to, balance each other out. But I had him read it because I wanted it to be really honest and true from the partner's perspective as well. So it's very much about the couple and what they go through, and how you can feel so isolated going through something with another person. And it's really heartbreaking. It's funny. Yes, there are funny moments in my miscarriage story. I know it sounds weird, but it happens. Like I said, it's like if you don't stop to laugh, you'll cry forever. And so I was like, I wanted to include that in this. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be, and I hope it's going to be really impactful. And I think it will be.
I think it will be. I mean, based on everything you just said, the fact that this story hasn't really been told before, and I know people who have had miscarriages. I mean, it's
yes, everybody does. It's crazy.
Do you have anything that you can tell us about it, or not yet?
I am I'm in my fundraising stage. So
Okay.
It's written, I have a director. Her name's Akanksha Krasinski. She is so talented, so wonderful. She actually won the Oscar for her student film. It's called Close Ties to Home Country. And it's so funny, when I met her, she said it like very flippantly. And I was like, what? She was like, oh yeah, that happened. And I was like, but she's, I watched her short film, and it was very much in the same kind of tone that I envision you really tried your hardest to be in. So I have my director, and I'm fundraising. So it's so crazy to say that $250,000 is a micro SAG ultra low budget, but it is. And I've raised $50,000 by myself. 200 left to go.
Congrats.
Thank you. Awesome. I know it's hard. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have to remind myself of that all the time, because I just look at the mountain of, but it's 200,000 more. It's like, it's definitely important to celebrate that as well. So thank you. I appreciate that. I have been doing crowdfunding campaigns. My fingers almost broke a couple months ago, just emailing and texting and calling people. So I've gotten my funds that way so far. And I'm going to do another crowdfunding campaign, probably starting at the end of the month, beginning of May. My goal is $25,000 for that one, which will bring me to $75,000. If a bird falls on my head, you can edit that out. And for the rest of the remaining amount, I've applied for a few grants. Have to wait for those to, be announced, but I applied to grants. I'm still applying to more grants, and I'm now starting to reach out to bigger money people, other producers, production companies. I'm working with Planned Parenthood, actually. Karen Spruch, she's such an awesome woman. She is the national director of arts and entertainment of Planned Parenthood. So she's a collaborator on the film, and she is sending it to, funding companies, and she is in touch with a lot of celebrities who support Planned Parenthood. She goes to these events all the time. So, for example, Penn Badgley is very outspoken on the topic. His wife had 2 miscarriages. So I just reached out to his production company. They're a fresh new production company. I was like, hey, you're in Brooklyn. You're right across the river. We have a lot of things in common. Let's do this. But things like that. I'm doing a lot of research on foundations and individuals that are very outspoken about this and seeing if they want to come on board. And hopefully it just takes a couple of people, so we'll see.
I mean, your pitch is great, and I feel like we're going to do whatever we can to spread awareness and help you get at least a little bit of that sum.
Hey, a little bit goes a long way. People are always like, I don't have much. I'm like, look, this takes time and patience, and every dollar matters, and it sounds corny, but it's so true. It's so true because, you know, I got a $25 donation the other day, and I haven't had one in like a week and a half, and it's just like, it's like a little, like jump a little bit, because it is. It's like, I paid for someone's lunch on set one day, you know? It's like, people don't think of it that way. We think of it that way because we're making this film, and I have a budget list of everything, so everything is a win. So I do appreciate that, and I'm gonna film it all in Jersey City, and I'm excited about that. I did a Jersey City crowdfunding campaign. I'm from here. I grew up here. I still live here. I think it's the dopest place ever. We have so many things that are filmed here, all pretending to be New York City. So I'm like, let's get a Jersey City film being Jersey City. So that was the focus of that. So a lot of my funds from that crowdfunding campaign came from, you know, locals, and it was just so wild. That was a $20,000 goal. I was like, I'll make like 5, and I got like $20,300. It was wow. It was really cool. But this next one is going to be geared towards women and mothers. Not that men can't donate, they certainly can, but because it's so heavily, you know, it's a film about a miscarriage, so I know a lot of people who have experienced miscarriages are already asking to help, you know, the crowdfunding campaign that way. So and that's a 25,000 goal. So may the fundraising gods be with me, but I do appreciate that.
Things happen the way they're supposed to most of the time, if not all the time. And just talking about these things with random people, I have found in my experience when it comes to anything you're doing, you just bring it up. You'd be surprised how many people have money and how many people are willing to actually help you get where you need to go. So I fully believe that you can reach that amount, and I'm very excited for this project.
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
About the project, question for you. What was, if you can discuss any of it, what was like the first part you wrote? And was there a part of the script that you wrote that really made you confront something like within, or really brought up an emotion that you unexpectedly didn't see coming?
The first part I wrote was actually the first scene. I very much write in order. That's just how my brain works. So the first scene is the character is in a bathroom stall at a comedy club, and she's reading all of the graffiti on the bathroom walls, and it's like really like vulgar, ridiculous stuff. And then she has a miscarriage in the bathroom stall. So you go from, haha, look at all these like crazy things written on the wall, this is so funny, to like, oh my god, you have to deal with this now in this very public place. And that was definitely pretty heartbreaking to write. I had written this pretty shortly after this happened to me. Now, it's semi-autobiographical. That did not happen to me. I was not in a comedy club at a bathroom stall. But it's autobiographical enough that obviously I pulled from allergies. Sorry, I must take a sip of water. I pulled from all of the shock and everything that comes with that. It was, okay. And if any of this is too much, let me know, because it's obviously heavy topics. But I think a lot of women who have miscarriages feel this sense of guilt around if it happens early, you shouldn't feel as sad as if it happened later, if that makes sense. That's not true. I'm saying a lot of people, I think, feel that. I felt that way personally, me, Josie. And my character was farther along in her pregnancy than I was in my life. And when I was writing it as if me imagining I had gone through it longer than I did. And I kind of realized as I was writing it, I was like, no, everybody's very entitled to how sad of an experience that is. I spoke to someone who was not trying to get pregnant, and then just it happened to her, and she didn't even know she was pregnant. And she felt it was very much like, yeah, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, because like I wasn't trying, and so it wasn't. And then by the end of the conversation, she was like, I've never really acknowledged how much that affected me. And I was like, yeah, it's a really sad thing to happen, regardless of what timing it happens, of if you wanted it or not, if you were planning it or not. So that's something that kind of struck me when I was writing it. The experience is different for everybody, but the core is the same. You had a loss. So by writing that character and how she felt at that stage in her pregnancy kind of allowed me to be more easy with myself in how I felt. It lessened the I shouldn't feel as sad as I do, and kind of was like, no, this sucks. I'm just going to lean into how much this sucks right now. Sometimes things just really suck, and this sucks. So that was the first scene I wrote, and that is something that I think I learned unintentionally along the way of writing the script. I was gonna get way more. I was like, I'm gonna well, maybe another day. But yes, that's yeah. I would say that's how I feel. There's also a scene, the scene I'm most proud of. I think it's a baby shower scene. And it's right after this happens to her and she has to go to a baby shower. And she kind of has like a full-blown anxiety, panic attack, freak out at everybody at this baby shower. And most baby showers are all women. So this is like a full, room full of women. And at the beginning of the scene, everybody's being very like, oh, my baby sleeps through the night, the most perfect baby, I have no problems, she is perfect and perfect and perfect. And like somebody else is like, my husband and I have been together for 20 years and the sex is still great and we always want each other and this and that. And like everybody is just being very like surfacey, like everything's great. And then once the character I'm playing has this freak out at the end of the scene, they're just like, oh God, sometimes I just want to like drive and never come back, and like I know that's terrible, and da-da-da. And people just start getting really real with each other. And it's women who, are mothers, older women, grandmothers in the scene, people that never want kids. And I wanted that scene to be very much inclusive of everyone's experience, as a woman, not just, people who want to be mothers, because just us as women go through a lot of things, whether we're never mothers anyway. So I wanted that to be a big part of it too. But that scene, that's probably the most fun scene. It's like 12 pages long. It's going to be a beast to film. I'm really excited, but yeah, that was another thing that that I was really proud of with that one. But yeah, I think to answer your question, those are the 2 points. Definitely. Now I'm just rambling.
No, it's amazing. As you're speaking, I'm thinking about all of the pressures we not only put on each other, but I feel like the ones we put on ourselves, and the expectations of how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to feel, oh, well, what I'm feeling is not valid because I don't have the same experience as somebody else, or people always have it worse, or like we're always making excuses for what we're feeling instead of just living in it and letting that be okay. And when we actually live in it, we find out that other people are right there with us.
Yeah.
And that's where the community is. That's where the support is in the vulnerable and breaking down those walls that I want to say society put up for us, because we didn't do that. We've been told to see ourselves a certain way. For men and women, there are just so many expectations, and there's so many rules that we have to follow in this world today. And even if we follow all the rules, it's still not enough. We're still not doing it right, and that goes for everything.
Yeah.
So hearing you speak about that, I was just sitting here going, yeah, like I have these feelings about something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I should be doing this. It's like, no, you should be doing what you're doing because that's how you're feeling, and that's okay.
Yeah. That's a really hard thing to do.
Yes.
It's a really hard thing to do. And if you can do it even a little bit fairly consistently, you're doing a pretty good job, I would say. Because it's true. It's what you just said, it's for men and women. That's the husband in the script. I had him very much like, I'm the guy. I got to take care of you. I got to make things right. I got to do this. And the very like man kind of like, things that they all feel usually, that society is just like, fix that shit, like do your job. And he has a moment in the film where he's like, I can't do it. It was very important. I know I've already mentioned this, but it was super important for me to include that for both characters. For everybody who sees the film to be like, oh yeah, I've been there. And it's not a film, even if, a couple sees this film and they've never gotten pregnant or had a miscarriage, it's very much a relationship film. It's very much like, how are we going to get through something so difficult? And every couple has had that moment, had that crossroads. So I wanted it to be, kind of universal in that way too.
It's reminding me of a modern version of Hamnet that just came out, where it's like, it's about the couple's way of dealing with grief. But yeah.
No, I'm sorry, continue. That movie
yeah
ruined me in the best way. And I kept being like, I'm gonna wait till I'm like emotionally like ready to watch it. And then one day I was like, that's never gonna be. So I'm just gonna watch it. And my husband and I were completely, I'm gonna start crying, completely a mess. I mean, that movie, and the way Chloe Zhao talks about how she works with her actors, I'm like, what do I gotta do to get you to work with me one day? Because she is so brilliant. And oh my god, that movie is just, and I'm sorry, but that little boy should have had a best supporting nomination.
Yes.
It was so good. It helped that he was like one of the cutest cherub babies I've ever seen, but like, he was really, really good. That whole movie was, oh my god. People are like, I don't know if I can watch it. I'm like, shut up, watch it.
But it's exactly what you're describing. It does show. It's about how the relationship gets through what happened. And even though we get to see more of Jessie's side, we get to see her sort of evolution through this tragedy of grief, we do still get to experience what it was like for Paul Mescal because it manifests differently. And I think that's something we don't talk about enough, where you get one side of the story, but you don't really tackle the other side. And things don't always manifest in the same way. So somebody might be crying and somebody might not be crying, but the grief is still felt.
Totally.
And I'm so excited to see, well, for your film to get funded and then for you to finally be able to get it on its feet.
Yeah, I'm really excited. This has definitely been a lesson in patience is indie filmmaking. My God, it's so, I know it's going to be so worth it in the end, because for Heirloom, I've already surpassed the budget that I needed for that. So I'm like, short films are so much easier in the fundraising way, but it's totally, I know it's going to be worth it in the end. So just got to get there.
Hearing you speak about films and even your own projects that you're working on, I mean, that's why we got into doing this podcast about indie films. It's because there's it's so much work, it's exhausting, it's time consuming. You have to give a part of yourself to every project that you do, but it is worth it in the end. And indie films to us are the best films because the heart and soul is poured into it.
Yeah, it's some of the best things I've seen are indie films, and you're right. It's because it's literal blood, sweat, and tears that were put into it, and people's, life savings, or people. That's like what they did to survive mentally. And you can feel it.
I do think there's a shift, though. I've seen it a lot recently. You see a lot of people starting their own companies. You see a lot of people, just like little things like book adaptations. Like, I feel like there's been so much of that because people just want fresh content and fresh story. Create that new story.
Yeah.
I am excited for what's to come.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Josie, as a last question, we like to ask the people that we interview.
Yeah.
Our podcast is about pairing indie films with wines.
Yes. Heirloom is going to be a Pinot Noir. Someone, I don't know if this is a common thing, but someone called it grief wine. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're going to go Pinot with Heirloom. And for You Really Tried Your Hardest, let's go Zinfandel.
Nice.
We're going to go Zinfandel because it's like bittersweet, Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm happy with my my wine answers. I can appreciate a good wine even if I don't drink it anymore.
Have you tried the de-alcoholized ones?
I do, and it makes me just want the alcohol.
Got it.
Most people really love them, but for me, I'm just like, the hardest thing about stopping drinking for me in the beginning obviously was the not drinking part, but also it was like social settings. Like, I felt so uncomfortable being like, here's me and my ginger ale. Like, obviously there is nothing against ginger ale, but I felt so I felt like a loser, like, to be honest. And like, so just having something that looks, and obviously you could put ginger ale in a fancy glass and nobody would even care or notice. Nobody cares anyway. But just having, that to feel like you're a part of, the setting. Definitely, there is definitely a market for it. I think it's brilliant, but yeah, it's weird. It's definitely strange to try it after not drinking for a while. My husband and I were like, nope, not for us, maybe later. Not for us right now. We will stick to our ginger ale.
I've definitely seen a trend even in like close friends of mine who have never had any addiction or anything like that. They just don't want to. They're like, you know what, I don't want to drink alcohol. I don't feel good afterwards. So
God, especially when you get older. My hangovers towards the end were like 2.5 days long. I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is not sustainable.
All right, Josie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
this was so much fun.
Thanks for reaching out and wanting to chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a lovely rest of your day.
You too. Enjoy this beautiful weather.
Thank you. And I'll email you and we'll chat.
Perfect.
Lovely.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Uncorked. Make sure to click the button below and click subscribe for more upcoming episodes.
You can find our podcast, the Miss Independent Podcast, on Spotify and Apple. And make sure to head on over and subscribe over there as well. And we're super excited to see you next time.
And follow us on Instagram at the Miss Indie.
Bye.
Bye.